Yo, what's up, everybody? My name is Ray.
I'm Marco.
We are the Love the Game podcast. This is our 22nd episode, so I mean, it sounds really crazy saying that out loud, but we appreciate everybody for interacting with us, viewing our content, telling us that we're doing a great job. Um, I feel like I say it every episode, but it really does go a long way. Um, so yeah, we're not really gonna have anything crazy to discuss, other than maybe like the Sixers, Chris Paul, Giannis, regular stuff that's going on in the league. So, um, basically last night probably saw a phenomenal, arguably like game of the year, including the Sixers again. I feel like every game has been basically a playoff game. They beat the Golden State Warriors 99 to 98, excuse me. They low-key gave up a 24-point lead, but they somehow figured out how to win that game. I know we were texting a little bit, Marco, but I guess like what's your reaction to game later? Because I obviously, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on, but like ultimately, like wow, bro, that was a crazy win.
Yeah, for as exciting as the ending was, I think that I was more kind of just relieved that we didn't have such an embarrassing loss, and I was like super happy because like watching us give up that lead, I was like I kind of felt it coming when we come into the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
and we throw
Mhm.
out we throw out a lineup that like really has no ball handlers. Like if we're being honest,
Yeah.
and with Embiid being on a minutes restriction, Paul George playing the second end of the back to back because Embiid's playing tonight, Maxey not being able to play 48 minutes because despite how he's been playing, he is actually human. And Trendon
Literally.
Watford being out, and I don't know why Jerry McKinney's not in that lineup, and it sounds crazy because McKinney gets in and turns the ball over a couple times, but I think he's the second best ball handler that we have, and I
I
don't know
agree.
why he's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
always in when Maxey's off the court. So like starts with that, and then we didn't score a point for like 5 straight minutes, and you just like let him back in the game by doing that. Yeah, so it was really frustrating. Obviously, the ending was amazing with VJ getting the putback. Didn't love the play call again. Kind of just looked like everybody go to one corner, and then Tyrese Maxey you just take like you made it so easy to double because you have two guys able to guard all three guys in the corner. So Maxey
Yeah,
like pretty
yeah,
much
yeah.
has to take the shot on the wing, and they're
Yeah,
throwing a double at
yeah,
him, and it's not like you can attack the basket because the double's coming. I
yeah.
don't know. Like at least it wasn't the Maxi starts all the way in our backcourt and like the classic Nick Nurse play, but I thought it was another play that I was pretty disappointed with. And shout out to VJ for the putback, and then big shout out to Tyrese Maxey too, who like everybody's obviously showing VJ love for the putback because it's the game winning shot. But the block is just as valuable down the other end, especially after missing a shot, like having the
Yeah,
sense to
yeah,
get back. Because usually you're the one who takes the shot, you're not the one responsible getting back on defense. Like usually
yeah.
it's like
Hmm.
people who aren't crashing the glass. You gotta get back because your teammate put the shot up. So
Yeah.
shout out to them for getting back. Bro, I was so disoriented. I thought it was a damn boner blocking the shot because I didn't see how tall the player was, and I was like, I saw him get glassed, and like, cause it was like Don Barlow and Maxey running, so I didn't see like who was behind Don Barlow. I could just see it
Yeah.
was like I'm like the only one on the court is Bona because VJ's on the ground over there. So I'm like, oh, I thought Bona glassed it because like no way Maxey got back and glassed that for as good of a shot blocker as he is. That was
Yeah,
crazy, bro.
bro. I
That
mean,
that
like,
that deserves just as much love.
yeah, bro. I like to piggyback off of you, bro. I think Maxi, like, to me, reminds me of just like a great MVP candidate just based off of that play alone. Um, I mean, like, I know I shared it on social media, but I don't think a lot of people saw why that play was a specific MVP type play. But I think you described it perfectly. Like, he missed a shot, he hustled all the way back to get a game saving like type play. Like it's undescribable. Like I still couldn't believe it the next day, today, after we won. Like what, Maxi's 24 right now, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, he'll
So
turn 25 this season
yeah, so
if he
he's
hasn't
basically
already.
like, I guess, just entering his prime now. And to think that there's definitely a reality where he can get a lot better from this point forward, that's a really scary thing. Like I was thinking last night, you know, given how we're drafting, given how our team looks right now, I think like in 2 years, bro, if we can just develop the right way, like we're gonna be a serious problem in the Eastern Conference. Like, if Maxi somehow like elevates on top of this crazy MVP type season, you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, I definitely think he'll make first team All NBA. I
yeah,
think I
me
think it'd
too.
be hard to really like truly compete with Shea and Jokic like at the top with how like historic their like peaks have been. But
Yeah.
I think he'll finish top five in MVP voting. I think those two are just like so ridiculous. And
Yeah.
maybe like I don't know, maybe one day Maxey's at that level if like those two like begin to get older and like Maxey hits like they say your true prime is from like 28 to 31. Like maybe Maxey hits his true prime. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, this year's tough.
Maxi, I mean, it's he's bringing back the feeling of like Philadelphia basketball, and like that play, that really embodies it right there. Like I haven't seen nothing like that in a minute. Like,
Like that
bro,
that been
like that, like this feeling, I feel like right now, especially given like I feel like that was like a culture building type of win. And it's I can't believe like this can actually like I see a vision of where the Sixers can be really competitive within the next 2 years. Given like this like Tyrese Maxey is quite literally becoming like the future of our team. And it's
yeah,
like undeniable.
I'm kind of just looking at it. It's like Maxey's so good right now that like I really don't want to waste his prime in the way that
I
I
agree.
feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
with like two bad contracts in the way that I feel like Embiid's was kind of wasted with the Tobias Harris contract being on there for most of his prime. Like,
Yeah.
and Tobias Harris was able to play. He just wasn't like at that level that you
Yeah.
need to be to justify a max contract.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey is two guys who are just like one is like way past his prime and Paul George and he's hurt, and the other one just like can't play like more than 25 minutes a game right now, like and he'll play like half the games in Joel Embiid, who like is like kind of productive when he's in there, but like he's my favorite player ever and it's like really tough to watch him like this. Like I'm watching the game like getting upset. Like I can't believe I'm going to have to watch my favorite player ever like regress for 3 more years after I've seen him
Yeah.
have like
Yeah.
be like one of the best peaks I've seen as a player. Like it kind
Yeah.
of hurt like it really does hurt my heart, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like, and we'll even go into more of like, aging stars. Like it definitely made me a little bit emotional seeing Joel Embiid on the sidelines because that like he's playing the games. It's just his body can't. Um, like, and we've said this for years. Like his body just can't keep up with the type of workload that he wants to create.
I
Um,
gotta say his shot
yeah,
wasn't falling, but I felt like I would have to go back and watch it. But I felt like that was one of his better defensive games. I felt like he was able to contest more shots than he usually has been this year. I
mm,
don't know if you felt the same way, but like some of the layups at the rim and stuff, like I specifically remember a couple times he contested Kuminga. Like he still wasn't rebounding like you would like him to.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I feel like he definitely was able to like jump to contest more shots and like that sounds pretty sad. Like you said, he was able to jump, but I felt like this was one of his better contesting games. However, he like took six threes and wasn't able to make any of them. And I understand increasing the 3 point rate. That was something I wanted him to do like kind of early in his career to help preserve his body when he was a better 3 point shooter than he is now. But it's been a pretty rough 3 point shooting season in a season where like you really need him to be able to shoot the three to like keep him as like a viable offensive option at a high level.
yeah, yeah. I mean. Shout out to the Sixers, man. Y'all restoring the hope. Um, in other news around the league, Chris Paul was, you know, notoriously now, I guess, waived at 3 o'clock in the morning by the Los Angeles Clippers. Um, I mean, Chris Paul, I know he's not one of your favorite players. Um, he like I'm kind of indifferent, but Chris Paul, one of the Clippers, arguably the most legendary Clipper to ever put on a uniform. Um, it just sucks to see Chris Paul go out like this, man. Especially like when you hear the context, he was trying to help his team get better. He was trying to help, improve the little things in order to at least have them to have a fighting chance to compete in the playoffs or to play in, excuse me. Um, and this might be something that we do in the future, but I remember one of my predictions for the Clippers. Hopefully, the footage I know is messed up, but we'll see if we can salvage it. But I predicted that the Clippers wouldn't make the playoffs this year.
Oh yeah, you hit the nail on
Specifically,
the head with that one. Yeah, I
yeah,
was dead wrong. I had him as like the top 60. Yeah,
like
good time.
specifically, I was thinking that because of their age. Um, but I mean, I couldn't even predict something like this, man. And even Chris Paul announcing that he was going to retire. What was it like 3 4 days before they released him? Like that was just. I mean, I know the business is the business, but it was as a fan, it was definitely like, dang, bro. Given what Chris Paul has given to the Clippers organization, Yeah, I know you're not the biggest Chris Paul fan, but what was your reaction to it, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I like within the I will start like I'm not like his biggest fan, but like I don't dislike him like I used to. Like I've come around on him in like the past couple of years, realizing I was just being like an emotional little kid. Like in full disclosure, my reasons for not liking him, for anybody that doesn't know me, was I was a huge James Harden fan. He was probably one of my favorite players in the league, and they are up 3-2. Chris Paul misses like game six, like whatever, like,
Oh, this is
and
against
then
the
like
Warriors?
yeah, and it says
Okay,
he's gonna
gotcha.
play game seven, and it's like a game time decision and doesn't play game seven. Like, and then when I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, it was a game time decision, like he could have played. But now me like looking back, like Chris Paul is a competitor. Like if I had a conversation with like kid me now, I'd be like, bro, like you really think Chris Paul would have just sat out a game because he was scared? Like that made no logical sense. And like I understand a lot of like casual NBA fans think that way about players now, but like that was just me
Yeah,
being
yeah,
like a little
yeah.
kid and being emotional over it. So I held that against Chris Paul for a long time, like because he said he was gonna play and then didn't end up playing, and I felt like even if like no, by any means would it have been a guaranteed win if Chris Paul was able to play Game Seven? No, it wouldn't have been a guaranteed win, but it would have given the Rockets a better chance
Yeah,
possibly if
yeah,
Chris
yeah,
Paul
yeah,
was
yeah.
like at the level. But I have no idea what Chris Paul was going through, so it's unfair for me to hold that against him. So
Yeah.
I've obviously held him in high regard as a player because the reason I was so mad he didn't play was because I thought he was that much of a difference maker.
Mm.
But I actually have his jersey from when he was on the Clippers because do you remember
Me
Modell's,
too, me
bro?
too.
This is like a little bit of a tangent. You remember Modell's, like the
Yeah,
store?
yeah, yeah, bro. Of course.
So they had one in the mall. For y'all that don't know, Modell's like I don't think it's a thing anymore. Like they were
Yeah,
closing.
actually, low key, I think it might be gone. Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
so all the
Yeah.
jerseys they had in there, it was like a double sale because Modell's was closing, and it was like the end of the Adidas Nike jerseys or like something like that. No,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Adidas
yeah, that
NBA
makes
jerseys.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
have like a Chris Paul, like one of the sky blue joints with like the sleeves on it.
Oh, that's tough. That's
It
tough.
wasn't my size, but it was like $15, bro. Like it sounds
Yeah,
so
you got.
crazy, but
Yeah, yeah,
it was like
yeah, yeah.
$15. I'm in there. I'm like the only reason I went into Modell's is they had like all the signs like sale, like 90% off. It was something crazy, bro. I'm in there, it's like $15. I got the jersey, it was like an XL, it didn't fit me then, and like it fits me now. But it's like no, so I did like Chris Paul, and then I was just being an emotional kid. So it is sad how they did him, man, especially because like I feel like before the season he was even like kind of talking like this was gonna be his farewell tour, even though he like officially
Yeah,
announced
yeah,
it the
yeah, yeah.
last week.
Mm.
So it's like, I don't know, like that is like your franchise legend. It's not like this is a move that's going to turn the team around. And like, obviously, I don't know what's going on in the locker room. Like maybe he was being super destructive. Maybe he was holding the team to a high standard. But this kind of what Chris Paul does. He kind of always holds the teams that he's on to a high standard. So it's like,
Yeah,
he is a franchise legend. Like he's been there. It's not like you didn't know what Chris Paul was going to do.
yeah,
Like yeah, he gets there, holds the team to a high standard, and like I don't know, I don't know. I have a friend who's a James Harden fan to the point where the Clippers are his favorite team now because he just follows James Harden from team to team. And he's
mm.
been pretty mad about Ty Lue, along with a lot of other Clippers fans that I see like on the internet, for the way he's handling this season. So, um, I I wouldn't be surprised if Ty Lue's out the door pretty soon. So that'd be funny if Ty Lue is gone and they like get rid of Chris Paul because he wasn't on speaking terms with Ty Lue. Like that would just be
Yeah,
like
yeah. I mean,
crossing both people is
my
pretty
question
crazy.
now, bro, like, especially like, dude, like, will Chris Paul even get his jersey retired now?
I was wondering, like
Like,
they have to offer it to him, but there's like I don't know. I feel like if I'm a player and they offer to retire my jersey, I probably take it anyway, just like because that's like
yeah,
so tough getting your jersey retired. Like you're
yeah.
really a legend for that. But like I would understand if his feelings were just hurt so bad. He's like, bro, I don't want nothing to do with this franchise
Bro,
no more.
yeah.
Like that just crossed me so bad.
That's embarrassing, bro. Like like, cause like, it's like, bro, like, we work, like we're employed. It's like the whole world finding out that the workplace you know, you created essentially is now, humiliating you in front of millions, it's I understand. And like that post that he posted with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, like it's understandable because for those who don't know, like the young bulls that are watching, like Blake Griffin was done kind of like very similarly. So it's just like, I mean, if I was a Clippers fan, I'd be very upset. I'd be very upset because like that's like if we released Joel Embiid or something like that, I would.
Yeah, on like a like if he came back on a minimum,
Yeah,
like
and we just like, man, I definitely feel the way about that. So it's like I get why people are upset about it. This is not like in terms of the NBA, yes, it's normal, but I guess because it's Chris Paul, is not normal. Recently, literally last night, LeBron's streak of scoring 10 points in an NBA game has finally been broken. I think it's like over like 1,300 games or something like that. I didn't look specifically. Hold on, I'm gonna see
It
where
was close. It was 1,200 something. But
it's
wait,
1,297.
okay, wait.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask you, take a guess at how many players have ever played that many games in their career.
that's a good question. Not a lot. I know it's not a lot. I'm gonna say like since the NBA is very rare, I'm gonna say like 300.
It was 24. I
Jeez.
saw this stat
That's
last night.
really
Only
off. Oh my
24
God.
players have played that many NBA games. That is crazy, bro.
That is crazy. My fault, Bron. My fault, Bron. I'm tripping, bro. My fault. My
I would have
fault.
had no idea where to start either. There's not even a bag.
Yo,
Like you would have asked me that, I would have been doing the math,
yeah,
like on how many seasons that even is. But no,
yeah,
that's crazy. Last time he didn't have it was like in like 2007. Like he has the ball at the end of the game in a tie game, and instead of forcing up the shot and being like, even if I miss, I'm going into overtime, but this is for the streak. He kicks it to the corner for the win. That was
yeah.
so tough, bro. That was so tough.
It's really tough. I think it's a poetic way for that streak to end. I do think it's definitely sad as like, someone who's watched LeBron since I could even, imagine. You know, it's crazy. It's like dang, like this is really like I didn't really have this type of feeling since Kobe. And this is like weird now that I'm feeling this type of feeling about LeBron because LeBron has literally been in the NBA longer than I've no, not longer than I've been alive, but like he's been in the NBA basically since I've been a kid. So like,
Yeah, we don't remember it because what he
yeah,
was
we
drafted in
don't even know.
2003.
We don't know.
I was 2 years old. I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I don't know the NBA without LeBron James.
yeah. So it's yeah, bro. I honestly I wanted to give a shout out to LeBron for real for like having this type of record and I think we should honestly respect this longevity. Um, Especially given this crazy week of the NBA, Chris Paul getting waived. We gotta show some love to the OGs, man. And yes, LeBron's record is broken, but I think, like we said earlier, it was for a good reason. It was for a team win. Um, I hope this doesn't mean that like I don't know, like I do wonder if this is gonna be LeBron's last season. A lot of people are saying that it's not, and I can 1,000% see that, but I don't know, man. Like it's definitely been giving me some questions to say the least.
Yeah, it's been rough. I didn't think it was going into the year, but like I don't know. Even I'm watching the games and it's like somebody that loves LeBron. Like sometimes it'll be like he takes like 10 like five straight possessions where he just doesn't move like from the corner. And like
Yeah,
part of that's because like Luca and Austin Reeves have been so good and he's like just working his way back from injury now.
yeah,
But part of that, I'm just like, wow, he like looks like last year you could see the regression start, but he was still playing at like a star level, all NBA level.
yeah,
This
yeah,
year, I'm like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
this is like, I don't know. I just hope he plays on Sunday, man. I know he's out
yeah,
tonight because
yeah.
it's the back to back, and I was fully expecting to text my friends. I'm like, yo, don't trip out when he's out tonight, and he's doubtful or whatever. I just hope he plays on Sunday. 'Cause if he plays on Sunday, he could call it a career, man. I just gotta see Michael play one time, bro. I'm so scared. I'm so scared,
Hey
bro.
man, LeBron, we love you, bro. Be healthy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Be healthy, bro. Um, but with that being said, we stick to our regularly scheduled program, excuse me. Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
so the team that I like recently has been the Orlando Magic. I've really liked how fluid they've looked lately. I'm gonna pull up their record right now. They're currently 13 and 9. They're sixth in the East. Before they weren't even in the play-in. And, I gotta give a shout out to Anthony Black. He's been playing well. Um, Franz Wagner's been holding down the fort without Paolo Banchero. I'm really glad that this team is finally getting a rhythm. People are starting to know their roles. Um, right now they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Um, and then, Jalen Suggs continues to be underrated. And yeah, shout out to Jalen Suggs too. I feel like he could be an all team defensive, an all NBA defensive player, excuse me. Right now he's averaging 4.7 assists, two steals. Uh, yeah, that's all I got to say about the Orlando Magic, man. Shout out to them. I wanted to kind of be real quick, and yeah, shout out to Magic.
Yeah, it was good. I'll give my shout out to the Mavericks. They've had a tough
Oh
year,
yeah, yeah, that's
all
a
in
good one.
all.
That's a good one.
But they got a 3 game win streak now. And the last 2 games, they beat in the Heat by 10 points and they beat the Nuggets by 10 points. So those are two teams that have been really good this year. So it's two impressive wins. The game before that was the Clippers, so like we talked about them already, like this is what it is. But
Yeah.
big shout out to Cooper Flag, who's like had 3 straight games where he scored over 20 points. He seems to be like figuring it out at the NBA level. Not that I had any doubt he was a very special prospect.
Yeah.
I was very high on him last year. I watched a lot of his games because as a Sixers fan, I was really hoping that we would luck into the number 1 overall pick and have him on our team.
Hmm.
So it's nice to watch him doing it in the NBA after he was getting dogged a little bit for how he started his NBA career.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
had a doubt he's a phenomenal player and he'll have a great career. Um, Also wanted to give a huge shout out to Ryan Nembhard, who has been great
Yup,
this year.
yup.
Yeah, the brother
Hmm.
of Andrew Nembhard.
He's a hooper.
It's pretty funny. He's a like a 5'11" guard, and a lot of people who were more analytically tilted really liked him as a prospect because he was a very productive player in college and did a lot of winning things. However, when you're 5'11", like it is reasonable to see why people would have a hard time seeing how it could translate in the NBA.
Yeah.
So he ended up going undrafted in the draft this year. I thought he was going to go in the second round, but nobody used to pick on him. But he's been very great for a team that really needed some good guard play. He had a 28-point game the other night against the Denver
Yup.
Nuggets,
Hmm.
where yes,
The rookie's carrying the Mavs, man.
you had valuable contributions from AD and Cooper Flag that game. But I don't think you win that game without Andrew Nembhard's 28 points. Super efficient too. He had 100% true shooting. His only missed shots were one 2-point shot and one 3-pointer. And the most impressive part to me is a 5'11" guard playing some of his first NBA play. He had 10 assists with 0 turnovers, which is super impressive for anybody, but especially somebody in those circumstances who's working their way um, into an offense for the first time at their some of their first professional play. And Anthony Davis has put together some strong play too, like you see, like you would want to see from Anthony Davis. Coming off a very strong game against the Nuggets where he had 32 points. Um, and then a 17 and 17 game last game where he didn't shoot the ball his best, but he was still a very impactful player as we expect Anthony Davis to be. So even though their season hasn't been what you would want it to be, I think you see a little bit of light here because
Yeah.
your first overall pick is playing like a future superstar.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis is playing some high level ball, and it looks like you really got something with an undrafted free agent that you signed.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, with my team that I'm challenging, I guess you could say. This time it's going to be the Golden State Warriors. It's funny because, we just saw them play our team, the Sixers, and they lost in a crazy game. But I think there is also a lot of things as like a Steph Curry fan that I want to see more from the Warriors so they can compete. I mean, um, I guess if I'm being objective, people don't know that Tyrese Maxey is like really like that. So you would expect the Warriors to beat the 76ers even without, your core of Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler. Um, and I guess dropping below 500 is not the best way to solve those issues, right? Um, in addition to that, your big three does have a lot of injury concerns. Draymond got hurt last night. Steph Curry was out from that Warriors game. I forget when Jimmy Butler um, went out, but I know he's been consistently in and out due to how he plays.
Mhm.
Um, I think also there's a lot of young players on the Warriors bench that I feel like need to be utilized more. Pat Spencer is like the perfect example of that. He was like one of the main people that kept the Warriors in the game against the Thunder last game, and he gave us trouble this game. And like a lot of people, again, they think that Pat Spencer is just this random dude, but like he can low key hoop if you know ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
he like very much outplayed Pods last night,
yeah,
to the point where
yeah,
they were like closing the game with Pat
yeah,
Spencer because
and
he
Guy
had like
Santos
12
too,
quarter
bro.
points. Yeah,
And I remember you were the main guy that like really told me like he was valid.
I really liked Quinn Post.
Yeah, yeah. Like I feel like these guys really need to get more playing time. and to me it feels like Steve Kerr is very adamant on veteran leadership and veteran play, which to a certain extent works, but the problem is that they're 37 and above. So it's like a lot of these guys cannot have the type of playing time that you expect them to have other than Steph Curry. So that's like the main reason why I have the Warriors as a team that I want to improve. Marco, what about you, bro?
I'm gonna go with the Bulls. They had a very hot
That's a good one
start
to
to the
say.
year, which a lot of people kind of figured was unsustainable just because their opponents were missing wide open threes at a very high rate to the point to where it's like that's not going to happen all season.
Yeah,
But now they've lost five straight games, and most notably coming off a loss on Wednesday to the Brooklyn Nets, a 10-point loss at home at that.
yeah,
So I don't know. This a team that like probably losing would be better for them just to stack up and get like better players. But you hear
I get that.
reports
I get
coming
that.
out where they think that Josh Giddey is Tyrese Halliburton and they're looking for their Pascal Siakam. So yet again, as was discussed at the beginning of the season, ownership views this team way higher than most fans and analysts would, which is a problem because they don't have the talent to compete. However, they're trying to compete. And so I challenge that team to more so just find a direction because
Yeah,
we
yeah,
see every single year that what they're
yeah, I get
doing
that. Yeah,
is not good. And like yes, it looks like you really have something with Josh Giddey, which I didn't foresee. I think you have something with Matas Buzelis.
yeah,
I would challenge them to I don't know. I would challenge them to I wish they sold on Vucevic and stuff, but I don't know. You have enough players here to the point where I don't think you could bottom out and get like a true pick. So I challenge them to either like push more chips in or find a way to be worse because
yeah,
what you're
yeah,
doing now, I don't think that leads to wins in the long term. One of my biggest problems, which I want to talk about this a little bit with them too.
yeah. Go ahead.
Noah Senge, his season is over with was it shoulder surgery? It's some type of surgery, but his season's over now. Noah Senge barely played for them, and I understand part of that is because like he's was the second youngest player in the draft behind Cooper Flag. I'm
Mm,
full disclosure, I'm a pretty big Noah Senge guy. I was pretty high on him going into the draft. I thought that was a nice pick for the Bulls.
yeah,
He has not played good basketball this year, but he also has barely played basketball.
yeah,
Part of that is probably because of how young he is, like I said, and that he's still developing as a player. Um, but on this team, I would have liked to see him get some type of rotational minutes to
I
like
get that.
see
Yeah,
where
yeah,
he's at right now. Because
yeah,
the best way to like see where you are as a player is like play NBA rotational minutes. Obviously, Billy Donovan knows better than me. Billy Donovan sees him play every single day.
yeah,
I haven't seen Noah Senge play substantial minutes since Rashiel Farmoon, when he was there. But I don't know. I know a lot of Bulls fans are upset with Billy Donovan, in his like how he's used his rotational minutes.
mm,
I'm a little bit upset with how we don't see how what was he the number 11 overall pick. I'm a little bit upset how we don't see how our lottery pick is at all. Even
yeah,
if he's bad,
yeah,
I would just like to know that right now.
yeah.
It's not going to make or break his career whether or not he had a good rookie year. He still could
It
be a
might not
very
even
good
make or break
championship
their
player.
season too.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
so what if you like lose a
yeah,
couple games seeing what your rookie has? Maybe he's really good. I think he'll be a good player in the long run. Um, there's a long way to go for him, but I don't know. He's a long guy, plays good defense, rebounds
yeah,
really well. Something I really look at for prospects is how well you draw fouls because I feel like that has a very underrated translation to NBA basketball, especially with college prospects. And he was elite at doing that back in his league. So I really think that there's a lot there, and I wish they played him more. Now they don't have that opportunity because he's out. But that was another thing that goes back to picking a direction was like even if you did view yourself as this like rebuilding team who wasn't ready to win there, like why wasn't he playing?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that would be a good way for him to develop, would be playing
yeah,
against
yeah,
NBA competition.
yeah,
So I don't know, like that's just another thing that I just wanted to add in there. Just prayers up to him. I hope he recovers. I still believe in him.
yeah.
But I would have liked to see him play more basketball. I thought that would have been beneficial too.
Mm. Yeah, prayers up to Noah Senge. And, shout out to the Bulls. We always like to give a shout out in the form of what we call the LTG player spotlight, where we basically just shout out a player that we feel like has been going under the radar, but really, really putting up big numbers for their team. So I'll go first. My shout out this week is gonna go to Norman Powell of the Miami Heat. Currently he's averaging 25 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 2.4 assists. He's shooting 50% from the field, and he's actually shooting 60% in effective field goal percentage. Um, and yeah, I mean, like he's a willing scorer. He loves to attack for a drive, and I mean, I think that's also with the new Miami Heat system. He's helped the Miami Heat become, well, I'll say a lot of the Heat's stats in comparison to a lot of other teams in the league because I feel like Norman Powell has contributed to this. So with the contributions of Norman Powell, the Heat are currently second in points per game in the league. They're fourth in the league in rebounds, third in the league in assists per game, and fifth in the league in 3-point field goal percentage. And I feel like Norman Powell has a lot to do with that. Last year, I remember actually seeing a podcast clip from a couple of my friends. Shout out Kobe, shout out MJ. You know, they were basically debating on if Bradley Beal was better than Norman Powell. And at the time, a lot of people were saying that Bradley Beal was miles ahead of Norman Powell. But again, like if you know basketball, you knew last year coming off the bench for the Clippers, Norman Powell was an elite six man. Even though he didn't play well in the playoffs, like a lot of people knew that that was like a very strong year for him since Toronto. And I mean, yeah, this is arguably one of his best seasons in the league. So that's why I wanted to give a shout out to Norman Powell.
Yeah, I think that's a really good shout out. He was playing at a really high level last year. He was almost an all-star. Going
Yeah,
into the season, I
yeah.
definitely would have said Norman Powell was better than Bradley Beal, but it made sense. What did they get back? They got back Collins for Powell. So you got like
Yeah,
Collins
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. Hmm.
you got back like Collins and Bill. Yeah, like yeah, that made sense at the time because like you would figure those two provide a little bit more depth than Norman Powell. But yeah, no, that was a really good shout out. He's been fantastic again this year, yet again raising an offense to a very high level, just like he did last year on the Clippers. I'm going to give my shout out to somebody that I've always thought was a good player, but I think that the perception of him before this year dropped a little bit too
Okay,
low.
I'm interested. I'm interested.
I want to give a shout out to Michael Porter Jr., who's been playing some really fantastic basketball this year,
Mm.
especially in his last two games. Um, two 30 pieces. Didn't play last night against the Utah Jazz due to lower back injury management, which has been an injury that's plagued him his whole career going back to in college
Yeah,
when he
yeah,
needed
yeah.
surgery. He was the top prospect. So I've always um been a believer in the guy. Just I don't know, like going back watching like Oprah side videos back in the day when I was a kid when he was the number one prospect in high school. Like I just wanted the guy to be good. I remember wanting the Sixers to like trade back into the
Oh
draft
God,
to
we thought
draft
we were
Michael
gonna
Porter
get
Jr.
him, bruh. Oh
Yeah, just
God.
because
Oh
I like
God.
watched him so much with Oprah side or whatever, I didn't like know the ins and outs of anything. I just knew he was nice. Um, but yeah, he was a little bit, I wouldn't say disrespected because it did make a lot of sense from the Nuggets perspective. Because I thought that Cam Johnson would be an upgrade for Michael Porter Jr. Not that Michael Porter Jr. was a bad player, but Cam Johnson feels like he's more of a system player than Michael
Yeah,
Porter Jr.
yeah,
is. Seems
yeah.
like Michael Porter Jr., while he is a really great scorer and a solid defensive player and a pretty good rebounder, does take some bad shots from time to time. So it feels like Cam Johnson, while being like a same level scorer, and a bit of a higher field player than Michael Porter Jr., would fit in better there. They were able to swing that trade, throwing in a first round pick. But the big thing was it saved them a lot of salary, so it gave them more flexibility to go get other guys and stuff like that. But Michael Porter Jr. has tremendously outplayed Cam Johnson this year, to the point where him and to the point where Cam Johnson and the players that the Denver Nuggets got has not provided the same value that Michael Porter Jr. has, and
Mm.
like the Nuggets seem to be just fine. But I think the Nets feel really good about the deal right now, getting Michael Porter Jr., who they may be able to flip again because of how great basketball he's playing.
Yeah.
On the year, he's averaging 25 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3 assists, about a steal, on 61.6% true shooting, which is very elite. Um, Still like not a great facilitator, but 3.2 assists isn't bad for him. And he's asked to carry a lot of the offensive load in Brooklyn, and he's done a very good job at that. Um, I hope that they are able to trade him to an environment where he can be back on a winning team because he did contribute to that at a high level in Denver. I know that his last playoff series was pretty poor. A lot of that due to him playing through a shoulder injury. But I was pretty disappointed with the way he was getting dogged. You would have thought that Michael Porter Jr. was bad every single playoffs and just not a good player the way people were
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about him.
yeah.
When we've seen him be a high level starter on a championship team 2 years ago, and it was obvious he was just playing poorly due to injury. So I just wanted to give him his flowers now. I know he's a pretty polarizing guy on like a personal level with all his off the court stuff, but strictly on the court, Michael Porter Jr. has had a really great year. I had to mention it.
Oh
It would seem
man,
like too
Curious
too much
Mike,
of a fan of the
man.
guy. I just had to be an honest
Woo!
basketball analyst right there.
Oh man, Curious Mike. Shout out to him, bruh.
Shout out to Curious Mike, man.
Before we go, as usual, we thank y'all for just paying attention to us, interacting with us, liking, commenting, subscribing. I know some people might think it's like a little thing, but like it really does mean a lot to us. Because like I mean, we feel like we're only getting better with time. So yeah, like we're just really grateful for that. Cole, before you give us your question, you got anything you want to say?
No, it just means a lot. Like every time I get the notification that we got like a new subscriber or something like that on YouTube, even though it is just one person. And what, we only have like 33 subscribers on YouTube right now. Like each
Yeah.
one like means a lot because 31 to 34 feels like a pretty big accomplishment,
My
like
God,
to be
bro. One
honest.
one time we started out at 10, bro. You
Yeah,
know?
one time we attend. I don't know. You keep getting one, like eventually you get to 100, and then eventually you get past that. So yeah, each person that like likes a video or even just like comments, whether that be like a troll comment or like a good comment, like I don't know, it just helps the algorithm and it like makes me happy that people feel the need to interact with our content and that it's reaching them in some way. It makes me
Yeah,
happy.
bro. So what's
Um,
your question, man?
so I kind of wanted to relate it back to we have this thing, I'm gonna explain a little bit that we call like the LTG curse. Because sometimes when we talk about a player on the podcast, they come out and sometimes they have a fantastic game, like Colin Gillespie having 8 threes right
Yeah,
after we talk about him. But
yeah,
sometimes they have a horrendous game. Like I talked about Noah Clowney on the podcast, and he came out and had like a 0 point game. But then he had like a 28 point game last like the other day where he made me look smart. Or like Trendon Watford had a 20 point triple double. But
yeah,
more often than not, you get Keontae George having a 0.8 turnover game after I give him his flowers. Or Keon Ellis dropping a Tony Snell after I talk about him on the podcast. So I just wanted to know who's the player that you have talked about on the podcast that like you wouldn't necessarily be rooting for it, but just because you put a take out there about the player that you find yourself rooting for. One guy I have that we talk about a lot now is Ron Holland because I shared my like Ron Holland has
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
sneaky high upside take, and then we got like 3 comments on the video of like probably Pistons fans agreeing with me, and it was like one of our like more like interacted with videos. So like now I
yeah,
find myself rooting extra hard for Ron Holland when ordinarily I like kind of wouldn't care what Ron Holland does.
yeah. Um, I would say like just off the top of my head, dang, cause see, bro, my thing is if we started this podcast like a couple years ago, I'd probably have some people like I remember I was one of the main people yelling about SGA when everyone was like the Thunder are trash. Um, that would have been perfect, honestly. But I think in 2025, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with like I'm probably gonna go with right now Ryan Rollins because that was
That's
somebody
a good
that I
one.
brought up. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you
probably
gave
gonna
him
go
a
Ryan
shout out
Rollins, and
for the
playing.
player shout
He's still been playing well despite the Giannis injury. And honestly, he could be like a cornerstone for the Bucks' future. So yeah, I'm probably gonna go with Ryan Rollins.
This is super good one.
Um, yeah, again, thank you to everybody that shows love to Let a Game. We're trying to just have like weekly uploads or like week and a half uploads. So, just be on the lookout for every time we upload. Hopefully we can continue growing. And yeah, man, the season's gonna be fun, man. We have again like a lot of stuff planned. Um, you know, hopefully one day, man, we gotta do like a love the game out of the Sixers game or something like that. That'd be fire. Some crazy like that. But like, yeah, bro. Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody again. Let a game, you know what it is. Subscribe, like, don't bet. You feel me? We going crazy. We going crazy, man. Yeah.